Merry Meet Annie here. This is my video about Yule, and I am so in the mood at the moment because I have just made the incense and oil that I'm going to be using at my circles gathering, and I smell good. I smell so good. So I am in the mood. Actually, I've been in the mood for a couple of weeks, just wanting those longer days to return. So I thought I would, as I tend to, share come the holiday what it means to me. First, yes, the longest night. Taking time to appreciate the power of the longest night. If we've been doing our work, our spiritual work, appropriately from Maybone through Samhain to now, we have been experiencing the longest night, sometimes called the longest night of our soul. We should have set out to do some hard work, some internal work, some deep, deep introspective work. We should have been spending time studying and reflecting, in my case, meditating and journaling. We should have gone within. Now, winter arriving doesn't mean we suddenly come out of that. It doesn't. Winter arriving is a taste of what is to come. If you live in a zone like I do, even though the days will be imperceptibly, at first, longer, things haven't changed drastically. One of the powers of the solstice is it is still underground. It's still deep. It's still introspective. It is still what you can't see and can't know by fact. It's what is buried. But the symbolism of the return of the sun at the spiritual level is knowing it is just not that. I believe I said in my video at Samhain that it was not the time to look forward. There was work to be done. Even if it was just being at peace and quiet over the late fall. There was work to be done. This is the time when in the midst of that, we allow our first spiritual inkling that it's not just about the unseen and that which we hold within. It's not about keeping to ourselves all the time. It is not about being private all the time, introspective all the time. A lesson of the season as the sun returns at the solstice is an opening up, a stepping outside of ourselves a bit, knowing that we are about to step into the future. This is not a time of pause. Yeah, it's still cold and silent and dark. Where I live, January and February are the worst of winter, so we haven't even really arrived at what feels like the deep of the year yet. But in that deep of the year, unlike what we've experienced since Samhain, we feel what moves in the earth. So it very much means we feel what moves within ourselves. Something is going to rise up and out of us as we go into the next turning of the year. So we are taking on the same work that we have been taking on for the last couple of months, but we are thinking now about what to make of it. We go from a reflection to an action as we move into this new time of year. One of the symbolisms that we can use when we think of the child of the sun, this child that is born out of this turning of the year, is we are the child being born. We are also the parent giving birth. We give birth to ourselves every year. We come out of the quiet time and the dark time and the reflective time, and as we step out into the world, we are giving birth to ourselves, and like the God, we are reborn with new sets of possibilities and even challenges in the year that we are about to enter, as we are birthed into the rising sun. A very important part of what the solstice is to me is the feeling what is moving within me that will be born in the turning of the year, especially as we arrive at Imbolc. So we honor this birth of the child of promise. And that can be an interesting thing to try and balance with all the things that we see the god of the Wicca being. Because we think of him as the oak and the holly king, separate in their own reigns and sovereign within their own ways. And we welcome them in each of their half of the dark and the light times of the year. We could even be focusing on him as the god of the underworld at this point, that beautiful, beloved, dread Lord of the underworld. And it can be confusing when at the same time we are thinking of him as a child born, a babe. But stop and think about it. When we think about the goddess, yes, when we first started studying the goddess, we thought of her as distinct maiden, mother, and crone, because someone told us there were those three phases of her. And as we matured, we learned that was a very simplistic way of looking at her, that indeed she had more aspects than we can possibly count. That she is not only the goddess of 1,000 names, but 1,000 possibilities. And we learned that as we did our studies and came to our relationship with her. She is at any moment one of the many things that she is, and many of the things that she is. So if we are thinking of the god of the Wicca as being born at the solstice, as the sun returns, as the earth is slightly more warm, we are relating to one of the many aspects of who he is and who he is at any given time throughout the entire year, and in combination with all of his other appearances. So we welcome the symbol of this child. To me, I find this time of year with my Christian friends a connection, that it is about wonder and faith and devotion, hope. It's the trusting in the looking forward. The next turning of the wheel as we go through the next part of the cycle, and then through the rest of the holidays that bring us back around to Samhain again. It'll have its own sets of challenges, its joys and its sorrows. But the important thing is, at this point, we are looking forward to that. We have faith in the turn of the wheel. And this child being born, this baby God, represents our trust in the future. It's a very spiritual moment for us. What this represents in the way of innocence, in the best and most powerful sense of it will be good. It will be a way forward. I will welcome this. I will embrace this. And the power of the solstice is we don't know what we're embracing. We cannot know what the next turnings of the wheels will be. We stop at the solstice though and think about faith. What do we absolutely know? What do we look forward to? There is in this depth of winter, which we still have a couple of months to experience, a sense of something rising up in us, a sense of looking forward. We don't want to rush it. We want to appreciate it fully and know what it is before we make an offering of it. Our work into the next turning of the year is to know what it is that rises up in us, that is coming out of the work we've done for the last couple of months, and begin to have a sense that we will make an offering of it. We were never meant to keep it. It was meant to come out of us in some form, some way of expressing some action. The goddess at the solstice. She is a mother, and the power of who she is at mother at this turning of the year is She is also crone. The crone does not cease to exist, suddenly become mother and give birth. That mother has the wisdom of the ages in her and is part of what she gives to the son that she's about to bring forth. The overlapping power of the mother and the crone is, to me, another symbol of what is the bringing forward of this time of the year. The crone has so much wisdom, and the mother knows it must be made an offering of. In the very real sense, she makes an offering of her son. But at the spiritual level, we all connect to that. It is again using the wisdom that we have developed even further from Samhain to this point and turning it into something tangible. I do love this time of the year. I love it for the mundane reasons of gathering with people. I'm so looking forward to the solstice meal, feast we are going to have here at our house to celebrate the solstice. I am so looking forward to the ritual with my coven that night. Not overdone with a lot of activity in that ritual. The focus of that ritual is to make an offering to the return of the Sun God, to let him know, here is what we offer to you, in addition to offering ourselves and our future, because he understands time so well. And making an act of welcoming, opening arms. You are welcome. I look forward to your return. Looking forward. Return. Words that move, even within the stillness that is still part of how we will live as winter is upon us. What feels as if it is rising up in you? What offering will you make? It's not time to make the offering yet. We want to live with it, understand it fully, and know exactly what we make the offering of in the next turning of the wheel. I wish you blessings on this beautiful, beautiful turn of the wheel as we welcome the return of the sun and honor the presence of the God and his lady, mother, in our life. I wish you mirth and reverence. Merry part.